Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to a Construction Curiosities interview. And this week we got Brian Vizarreta from DroneDeploy. What's up, Brian?
How you doing, Matt? I'm excited. I finally made it on the newsletter. This is exciting. This is
I
a
know
personal milestone of mine.
I was baiting you on LinkedIn, and you took the bait. So
Um,
Brian and DroneDeploy recently put out a reality capture playbook, and it's all over LinkedIn and stuff. So I wanted to get him on and kind of real quick talk high level of kind of about what reality capture is and everything else. So, Brian, real quick, can you kind of explain what DroneDeploy is and kind of what you guys are doing?
yeah, I mean, honestly, just in simple terms, like reality capture, it's just another way to document like existing conditions or project progress. Whether that's a couple different forms of photos, maps. You can use 360 cameras, drones, lidar, etc. But it's really just capturing reality and just being able to use that and everything that kind of goes on site.
Easy enough, huh?
Yeah, I guess that's as generic as you can get without going too technical, but pretty much I worked for a general contractor up in Boston, and uh, you know site changes every single day. You need to go back and look at things get covered up. You just kind of want to be able to have that documentation.
So I've seen, I went through your little playbook that you guys, I say a little playbook, I think it's multiple pages. It takes you more than 2 seconds to look through it. But no, it was great, man. And really, it kind of tickled my brain on some stuff that I wouldn't have thought about other than, I mean, I walk out there with my iPhone, generally speaking, right? And you just kind of take
Yeah.
some pictures. But what, taking it up a notch from your iPhone and putting it into a Procore or something like that, kind of what kind of equipment, like, are the kind of the next level equipment? Obviously drones and 360 cameras, but is that
Yeah,
mostly it?
yeah. But I mean, I actually, it's funny. I heard a saying today. It must have been on like a TikTok or something, but it was like, yeah, I could paint a house with a toothbrush, but I'm not going to do it. So like when you think about the phone and even the point and shoot camera, my dad family grew up in construction, so I remember when the point and shoot camera came out, he was like, hey, he was all jazzed up, like you got to check this thing out, and we're still now using our iPhones, but the size and complexity of these projects, you need more than just your typical context of an iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
So with the 360 camera for the interior is like our platform. We just allow you to walk around with the 360 camera, drops those photos onto a floor plan, kind of creating like a Google Street View. And then on the exterior, we allow you to connect into like your typical drones that you'd get at Best Buy, like an Air 2S or like a Mavic 2 Pro. And we just allow you to kind of automate the flight process. So instead of you flying to the same vantage points every week or you trying to create like a 2D map manually, you can just hit go and the thing will fly itself. So it's kind of crazy how far that kind of came out, even the last couple of years. But that's the bare bones of kind of what we help people do: save time on walking their site with an iPhone.
That's awesome, man. And you kind of, if you're doing that same pattern every way, you can kind of, I guess, kind of time lapse it of sorts too, right? You see the same change, the same pattern, same change.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, it's great because all the drone patterns are repeatable missions. So
Mm-hmm.
you just click go and it's gonna take off and hit the same exact elevation altitude for that same drone photo every single time. So if you're tracking steel, you're tracking current wall, even if you want to do like a automated facade flight to track like waterproofing defects, I mean, without going too deep into that, I guess the reason we created the playbook had more to do with we want to kind of translate technology into what someone in the field would kind of hear about it, right? So I'm not coming to visit a site and saying, "Oh, we have this BIM integration." What I'm going to talk about is, "Oh, you have a really tough mechanical penthouse. So how are you currently looking at that versus the model?" Like, all right, great. Just kind of translate it into simple terms that most people kind of care about. You know, people don't really features are great, but if you don't understand how that feature is going to be put in the context of your job site, it's pretty much pointless.
Right on. So one thing y'all do have in the playbook, which I thought was pretty cool, is you call it the reality capture life cycle, and it kind of touches on the kind of each phase of the project and like specific times and points of different types of reality capture. You want to talk about that for just a second? And
Yeah,
maybe some milestones and when like a good point to really be capturing stuff is.
I mean, it's interesting. So, for those of you who don't know, there was an acquisition that happened where the company that did the interior side was called Construction Site, and DroneDeploy handled obviously the drone side. We got to figure that one out. But prior to the acquisition, construction site, we were very like limited to what we were able to use 360 photos for. So like a little bit of pre-con site walks, and then it was pretty much crickets up until you started getting some rough framing in. Now on the DroneDeploy side, once the exterior gets covered up, you know, unless you're doing like rough logistics of what's going on site, you pretty much lose focus of what really tracks. So since the acquisition, we kind of are trying to push this whole message of every stage of your project, right tool for the right time, and not just trying to weed or push somebody into using, you know, a 360 camera for something that a drone would be much quicker to do.
That's awesome, man. I'm trying to keep this thing short. We're running already up to 6 minutes, but
I knew it was gonna go. I was like, how can I try to keep this under 5? But
impossible. So if people want to learn more, I'm going to link to the playbook there in the newsletter. But if people want to learn more, how can they learn more about what you guys are doing?
So obviously, I mean, hit me up on LinkedIn personally. Like, I'll respond. I think actually that's how we met Matt back in the day. So I think that's how I meet a majority of the people I contact with. And if you want to sign up for a demo, go ahead, sign up for a demo there. But if not, I'm always available.
Right on, man. I'll link your LinkedIn profile too. So appreciate it, Brian. Thanks for joining me, man.
All right. Rock and roll. Thank you very much.
Talk soon.